Welcome aboard, everybody, to the Sip and Sail podcast. We are your hosts, Yashi and Stephanie.
Hello, hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good and yourself?
Good, good. You ready for episode 2?
Yes, let's do it.
Here we
This
go.
episode is going to be different. We were supposed to be doing episode 2 in the Norwegian Aqua.
Yes.
What can we do? Cancellations happen, and we're here to talk about it. And also, we're going to be talking about Disney Cruise Lines.
Yes. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Do you have your drink? I have my drink ready.
I'm having my drink. Cheers.
Perfect. Cheers.
Okay, so our first topic, the Norwegian Aqua and Boston. We're supposed to be there. It got canceled. Oh man. But it is an important lesson for everybody, I think. You can have all the intentions in the world of you're going on that trip, you're going on that cruise, and something happens, whether it's the cruise line that has to change something because of weather, or you have something happen personally that you cannot travel any longer. And these issues happen, and it's really important to be able to have some type of flexibility and or travel insurance built in, don't you think?
Totally. I think that this happens more and more often where people say, I'm going to this cruise, nothing is gonna happen. I'm healthy, my kids are healthy, we're just going. And this was an event that was 100% going. We had our flights, we had our hotels, everything was ready. And even as travel agents, we don't think that it's gonna happen. So it wasn't nothing with the airlines. It was nice and sunny in Boston. The weather was coming for where the cruise ship is coming. So the cruise ship was doing a transatlantic and coming to Boston, and the weather was bad on their way. So they had to reroute to New York and not stop in Boston. So there are things that are not in our control, but are also not in the cruise line control. And I think that's where it becomes important of thinking ahead. Where this cruise ship is coming from might be the problem, not the port of call where you're going to the cruise.
And when it's real, I would say one of the more worst case scenarios is something that happened with Norwegian and this particular cruise is that it is completely ending in a completely different port
Port.
than what it was scheduled to. So, people that are on there right now, they have had to scramble. So they're
Exactly.
still on, but they've had 3 days extra at sea that they were not planning on, and they're arriving into New York instead of Boston.
Exactly. So
I
they already
mean,
had their flights of returning from Boston home. Now they had to make changes. So it's very important also when we think about basic economy when we're choosing our flights. Yes, sometimes we look at the lower price, but that can create a problem if your cruise at the end tells you, now we're not going to stop in Miami or Port Canaveral. We need to bring you to another state.
exactly. And that's where, I know, and I'm sure you do the same thing. I like to talk about value in a vacation more than the budget dollar amount because again, there's so much that can happen. You want to have that wiggle room that, you know, it may only have been a difference of $50, but
Exactly.
it's gonna give you that peace of mind that, you and we got onto our flights, our apps, our airlines, canceled our flights. I got my credit back,
That
canceled
got
the
my credit.
hotels. Yep, we got the credit back. Um, and so it hasn't, it wasn't as
It
big of
didn't
an
affect
issue.
us. Exactly. It didn't affect us as if we would have had basic economy. Now, there's nothing to do. You lost that flight. If the hotel had a strict cancellation policy,
Mhm.
it's not
And
that flight. And again, it's
and
not like you can say it's snowing in Boston. We can't get there. No, it's totally sunny. You can get to Boston.
yes, yeah, exactly, exactly. You're the one having to cancel at that point. So
Exactly.
flexibility is definitely key, and travel insurance, obviously. Get travel insurance. Those the even the people that are on the cruise right now, they would be able to claim and go to their insurance company and see what, if any, that they can get back from the
But
cruise. And it's just another lesson learned,
mhm,
and it's something why travel advisors like ourselves always, always, always recommends travel insurance. Will send you quotes for travel insurance, and is definitely something that you should have built in to your spending amount when you are looking at purchasing whatever type of vacation you're looking at.
yes, it definitely has to be part of your budget and your plans because anything like this can happen.
Yep.
And also, when you are cruising, you have to be flexible. The ports can change at any minute. For the cruise lines, your safety is their number one priority. So, if they feel at any point that one specific port that they're going to visit is not safe, they're going to reroute you to another port. So, you guys have to be flexible
That's
and
true.
you have to understand the safety has to come first.
Always. Always,
Hmm.
yeah. And they have every right. You signed their cruise ticket contract, whether you actually look at it and read it or not, it is in there that they can change the ports and the itinerary at any time
At any time.
for safety
Yep.
reasons. All right.
Yep.
Well, I think we got everything covered there. I'm ready to talk Disney cruises.
Oh my God, Disney was amazing. So some of you guys know, but some don't. I just got off the Disney Wish with my family.
Mhm.
Me and Stephanie went in February together, and
Yeah.
I think right now I have such a different experience as when I went with you in February because we were just adults, Disney adults having fun. We sat at the bars, we ate in the specialty dining, we had
Yeah.
brunch,
And it
and
was
now I went with family, and it was totally different experience.
See, and I was just gonna say when we went to Serenity Bay and it was relaxing. We got the cabana, up in the adult areas on the ship. So you had a completely different experience.
Completely different experience. And it wasn't a bad experience.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have kids. I went with my niece and nephews, and I used them for content in my Instagram page. And people were loving to see how the primos were cruising and they were having the time of their life.
Yeah.
Totally different experience as when we went as adults. And it opened my eyes as if you go with kids, you're still gonna have an amazing experience. If you go as an adult, you're also gonna have an amazing experience and you're not missing anything.
Yeah, and I think there's this idea of I don't I cruise a lot without my kids because of being a travel agent, and um I'm looking to experience as much as possible so I can pass it along to my clients.
Mhm.
And so in saying that, I think as I'm looking at cruises where my kids are not coming with me, I think a lot of people who are cruising without kids, they feel like they maybe don't even consider Disney,
Correct.
right? And I have been that way in the past. But now with all of the adult areas and Disney really is a premium cruise line. Their service and that crew on the Disney Wish was absolutely fantastic.
They
You
were,
know?
yes.
Yeah. And so, my a lot of my top, you know, my top seller really is celebrity couples and that premium market. Um, but I really think you can have a similar time on Disney if you're two adults without kids because your
Mhm.
schedule is gonna be completely different. You're
Yes,
gonna
and you
be
love
in
it.
different parts of the ship.
Yeah. So I always thought, I used to always joke around. I'm a Disney adult. And I always used to joke around about if I'm gonna have to steal someone's kid to go on a Disney cruise. And then we went as travel agents, and then we were all adults. There was no kids, and we had the time of our life. And nobody looked at us weird because we were adults with no kids. In
Mhm.
the country, we saw so many adults with no kids having a great time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you know, the and can we talk Palo? Oh my gosh, the food.
The food was amazing.
Holy okay, so on ours we did both brunch and dinner
And dinner.
at Palo, and I thought both were amazing.
Very two different experiences too. Two
Yeah.
different menus, two different experience,
Yeah.
and there was nothing that we tried that we said we didn't like.
And we tried just about it all. All
The
of
whole
the
menu.
yeah,
We tried the
again,
whole menu.
an amazing server, waiter who took care of us both times and made sure we had everything to try because it was our first time experiencing it. And absolutely amazing. And again, it goes back to that's that premium service that can feel maybe like it's missing or not quite as elevated
And all the
on
cruise ships.
some of the mainstream cruise lines for sure.
Yes. So when we were together in the Disney Wish, I noticed that the waitress next to us was cutting the kids' meal. I
Oh,
thought maybe he know the family is just how the waitress was.
yeah,
No, they do that to every single kid. So in
that's
my
great.
cruise with my family, my nieces and nephews ordered chicken tenders the first night. The waitress served them first before our dinners arrived, before our appetizers arrived. The kids' meals were already served.
Mhm.
He cut their meat. He went, put their
Yeah.
ketchup, did a Mickey Mouse face. He cut their chicken tenders. He asked them what they wanted to drink. He took care of those kids before he took care of the adults.
Yeah.
And
I
then
can
we started getting appetizers and we started getting our food. The kids were happy. They were not angry. They were
yeah.
not hungry. They were perfectly fine. The
Yeah.
next day when we arrived, so the best thing about Disney is that the waitress come with you to all your different restaurants. The
Right.
next day when we arrived at our table, the orange juice that the kids had ordered were already in the tables waiting for them. So I think that was really cool.
Yeah.
The third day, not only he noticed that the kids ate chicken tenders day one, chicken tenders day two. Third day, chicken tenders already ordered for the kids. All he asked if they wanted something different that he can bring, but he know them by their name, like Jackson. You take Mickey's already cooking your chicken tenders. Aliyah, I know you want a salad with your chicken tenders. It's on its way. It was really nice to see that.
Yeah.
And this was just only a 3 night. So imagine the amount of service that they get in a 7 night or in a 5 night
Yes.
cruise.
Yeah. That's amazing. One other thing that I still think about um from our cruise in February was the turn down service that you get and how the mainstream cruise lines are not providing that service anymore.
No,
Royal Caribbean, one of my favorites and yours too,
my
they
soup.
do not provide that service anymore. And boy, when you go on the cruise that on a cruise that does provide the service, you're thinking, "Man, I miss this." Like,
You do.
it's not a big thing, it's not a big deal, but at the same time, one of my favorite just parts about cruising and when I first started cruising was at the end of the night after dinner and a show or music and it's late, you walk into your room and like the night lights are on, they're like dimmed and your bed sheet is folded back. Maybe there's a towel animal on there for
That's little
you,
chocolates on your
little
pillow.
chocolates.
Yeah.
And again, it's not a huge thing, but again, that's more of a premium service anymore that you're not seeing on mainstream cruise
somewhere
lines.
else. You don't see it somewhere else and you feel it. And
Mm.
another cool thing that most people don't know, because I didn't know myself as a travel agent, is that you can request your kids to have little character sheets on their beds.
Oh, really?
Yes. So Jackson got an Avenger set of sheets on his bed, and
Oh my
Aaliyah got
goodness.
Minnie Mouse. And speaking to the stateroom attendant when he surprised us with that, he said we can request it ahead of time, or you
Wow.
can ask your stable attendant on the first date, and if they're available, they will do it for the kids. So it was a good surprise when they walk in the first date, and it was why she's like everybody else. But at the time to go to sleep, they like, oh, Mickey made my bed, and it was so special. Something so simple made such a big deal with the kids.
And I think, again, I think mainstream cruise lines are losing that. They're
Yes,
losing that extra touch point of magic, of a little bit of extra, a little bit, now when a crew member goes beyond, above and beyond what they have to do, we're surprised by it and we're like, "Oh,
yes,
thank you so much. I wasn't expecting that." But really, even just 6, 7 years ago, you like that's the kind of service they gave you all the time. You
yes,
you have one request and it's absolutely no problem, and within 5 minutes your request, you have what you want, what you needed is done, and it is not like that anymore in the mainstream cruising, and I think that is one of the reasons why so many people are now being pushed a little bit more towards premium cruise lines.
yes.
And Disney is definitely that.
And when you think about the price tags on these other cruise lines and you compare them to what Disney includes, it's not as pricey as it might look at the time that we send those quotes because of everything that you have included. Again, you talk about these other cruise lines where you have to get a soda package, you have to get a drink package, and Disney gives you
Mhm.
the soda in the restaurants. Every time you sit in a restaurant, you can order soda and they include it. You could order premium orange juice for your kids, and that's included.
Yeah.
Um, you
Well,
have it in the buffet upstairs. You saw so many different options of dinner that you had in the buffet versus other cruise lines that you don't get that.
and bringing up the buffet and the food on Disney is okay. So the last time I was on Disney was my first time. It was in 2018 with my family. We had been Royal Caribbean cruisers up until that point, and I had opened my agency and I said, "Okay, it's time to start trying out other cruise lines." So we went to Disney. And at that point, we only had Royal Caribbean to compare with Disney. And for us, the food was comparable
Mhm.
between Royal Caribbean and Disney. Well, fast forward to last month when we were on the Disney Wish, and my views have done a complete 180. Disney's food is so much better than Royal Caribbean's. And I'm talking about the included food. The buffet, the dining, the quick service, like the festival of foods and all of that. I love Royal Caribbean. I am sorry, but the food has gone downhill on Royal Caribbean, and Disney has has definitely they've taken
They
that
stay the
out of
same.
the
Yeah.
show. Yeah,
I
it's
agree. I
great.
love Royal Caribbean, and I don't have, and I think they're my favorite cruise lines, and I love them, and I continue to cruise with them. But I totally agree where the food has gone a little bit down what you can find in other cruise lines.
Yeah, and I mean, food is subjective, obviously. And so everybody has their own thoughts about that. And I don't think it has um I don't think it's a huge difference, but I can tell that there's a little bit of a difference in in the food now than
Yes.
than before.
And
So,
also, let's be realistic. We cruise 10 times a year. Versus a person that just goes on a cruise once or twice a year, you're not gonna see the difference. The food is great in Royal Caribbean. They have
yeah,
great options in their
yeah,
menu. But
they
to
do.
people that are big cruisers, that cruise a lot,
Yes.
they constantly looking at the same menu. They will see the difference when they try other cruise lines, especially when they go to Disney and sit down and try everything. And
Yeah.
the buffet, the barbecue, the Mexican place. There's nothing you try in Disney that you don't like.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a great point as well, as it really is, nitpicking a little bit,
Yes.
because of how often we do cruise and, have the food and all of that. So there's definitely something to be said for that. The entertainment on Disney,
It's
I mean,
wow.
it's fantastic. I mean,
Yes.
even if you are not a Disney person, you can easily go into the theater and enjoy yourself. And not
Yes.
only that, but now they have all the different, they've got Marvel and the Avengers and I don't know all that stuff, but they have all of that branding now too, so it's not just Disney princesses anymore.
No, it's just not
They're
Mickey Mouse, Disney Princess.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
different things.
their activities, their trivia, their all of that stuff. It's really good for everybody. And
Yes.
I really enjoyed that on our cruise, seeing the different activities that aren't so, let's just call it babyish, right?
Exactly. It's not so childish. It's not so catered for kids. Adults can do it too. You also have the movie theater. When we were in our cruise, we saw the new Black Panther movie. It's included. You don't have to pay anything extra. When I
Yes.
was just in this cruise, we went to see Snow White. Snow White is still in the movie theater, and we
Yes.
saw it
Love
for
it.
free in the ship. So it's those little touches that Disney gives you extra there are an eye opening for people the ones that need an elevated service and they don't want a cruise line that's gonna nickel and dime everything they do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love those theaters and those you get the movies that are in theater are still in theaters. They have them on the ship to experience. That's so cool. It's something very unique for sure.
Exactly.
Um and the other thing I was thinking of is I can't remember.
You have the room service. The room service is free. You can order
Oh,
anytime, and they even give you Mickey chocolate bars. My
I
nieces and
ordered.
nephew were ordering room service every night at 1 in the morning.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you gotta get the Mickey ice cream bars, or you
That's
can get the
before
warm
bed.
cookies and milk, if that's your thing. The room service is great. Um, the other thing I was thinking, especially, um, on on the newer ships, so, is the theming. Man, they have theming down. Obviously, they run Walt Disney World, they run these theme parks. They know how to immerse you into a theme. But some of the venues on board these ships are amazing. And I know on the Wish it was the what do they call it, the hyperspace lounge or something.
Lounge.
I'm not a Star Wars person. It was neat. I'm looking at the Treasure and the Destiny doing the Haunted Mansion lounge
Yes.
bar that looks amazing, and it looks like it's just themed so well that you no matter how much the other cruise lines try, they're not going to be able to replicate um something that's so nostalgic for people that
Mm-hmm.
grew up with just the Haunted Mansion ride. It's a classic at Disney, and it's one of the favorites.
Yes,
And to
definitely.
have something themed so well, um, in the Haunted Mansion bar, I like that I wanna get on Treasure just for that, and Moana.
Yes.
and Moana.
And the cocoa bar and the
Yes,
cocoa restaurants and bars.
and
Yes,
the cocoa
definitely.
restaurant.
Another thing that I think is great with Disney is we do so much line when you go to Walt Disney or Disneyland for the kids to meet the characters. The
Yeah.
characters are everywhere in the ship if you want to see them. If you don't want to see the characters, there's ways to stay away from the characters. And honestly, the lines for the kids to meet the characters are between 15 and 20 minutes versus Disney parks, you wait sometimes an hour and a half in the sun to meet
Yeah.
these characters.
Yeah.
Um, my little nephew is 8, but he's still scared of the characters. He don't like getting close to them.
No.
We made one big mistake, and that was in the Marvel restaurant. The Marvel restaurant is a very like a movie. You are playing with the characters and you hitting the little red light because the bad ones are coming to the cruise ship and Spider-Man is gonna save us.
Yep.
So he really thought that this was happening during our ship, that the
Oh.
Spider-Man and the bad one were fighting in the Lido deck.
Oh no.
And I said, no, 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 that's not happening. It's just a movie. And he said, so Spider-Man is not going to be here. I totally forgot. Honestly, it was an honest mistake. I totally forgot Spider-Man does come to take pictures.
Oh no.
And when I saw Spider-Man comes in, he freaked out. Like he wanted to run away from that restaurant and never eat at a restaurant again.
Oh no.
The waitress, again, to bring you the amount of trust and care that this waitress got, they made sure the next day to sit with Jackson and play around. If you don't want the characters to come to the table, I'm just gonna go let them know not to come visit you. Well, luckily,
Oh
this
wow.
restaurant was frozen. So, Olaf is not a real big character. He comes in a little car.
Yeah.
And the waitress explained that to Jackson. They even gave him a menu to cover his face. And they
Oh,
told him that he will become invisible if he wears that.
that's
Jackson
great.
loved it. He thought it was great. He
Yeah,
even was
that's
playing
great.
with or saying bye to Olaf from far. They made to make sure to move Jackson from seat. So those are things that we can let them know in advance. If your kid is somebody that is scared of the characters still or they're not happy, you let your waitress know in advance
Yeah.
and they work with you to make that happen. Also,
And
again, you
yeah.
always gonna see everywhere where the characters are. So if the character is on the left, you're just gonna go to the right and you're not gonna see them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think that's a really great point in, if you have kids that, you know, maybe are a little bit needy, or you have toddlers that are just being toddlers, as they can be. Disney really is the place for those kids, because those crew members every week or every 3 days on the Wish, every 3 to 4 days, um, they're working with so
Like,
many different kids and their personalities, and their, whether they have tantrums, or whether they can have this or can't have that. They have the experience because they are dealing with kids like that all the time, where if you try to take that and go to Celebrity and take your 3-year-old on Celebrity, and they're just being a toddler and they have a little toddler fit. I hate to say it, but m probably a lot of the crew members aren't gonna know what to do.
yes,
When you
yes.
go on something like Disney, they know exactly what to do and how to handle it right away. And I will say one more thing about the characters on Disney. What I felt was really cool is, I'm not a big, like, I don't need my picture taken with characters and all that kind of stuff. But what I thought was really cool is they would also just randomly be walking around the ship. So
Uh-huh.
even if you don't stand in line to see them per se, because maybe they are a little afraid, or they don't want their picture taken with them, they're still roaming around the ship and they're still interactive. Like, they would
Yes.
wave at us from across the atrium there,
Yes.
and interact with everybody. as they were walking by, or they would just be hanging out and it wouldn't be a true meet and greet. And I thought that was a really again, it's a neat way that you don't normally see characters like that. They're
Not no
usually
more.
they're usually in their space, just going through the line, for meet and greets. So I really enjoy those interactions too.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. And they treat the kids the same way they treat an adult. You want to take a picture with
Yes.
Mickey Mouse was being funny and lovable with
Yeah.
you the same way he will be with a 2-year old. So that's the magic of Disney.
Yeah. It kind of makes you feel like a kid again, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And it
It
makes you want to book another one again.
does.
I'm ready for a next cruise. I think we both can agree that it's time to book our next Disney cruise. Maybe we could do the Treasure next year, or we can look at any other cruises this year. What do you think?
Oh man, I'm not sure. Maybe you guys can help us decide that are listening. If
That's a
you
good idea.
guys, yeah, if you guys are listening where you can comment on YouTube, let us know. When should we get on Disney again? What ship? What kind of itinerary? Do we do a
Would you
longer
like to see?
one? Yeah. I think that would be really interesting to hear what you guys would like to see. And don't forget, while you are commenting, to give us a like on YouTube, subscribe if you're listening to us on podcasts or YouTube. We appreciate everybody listening.
Yes, and if you guys want to comment and let us know if you guys had any questions, any Disney Cruise Line stories, or anything you guys want to share with us, go ahead and do. But
Yes.
Stephanie, I guess this is for tonight. So everyone, don't forget to sip, sail, and see you next time.
Bye.